Hi, I'm Lamorna Nightingale, and I'm the artistic director and the general runner of these Backstage music events. And I'd just like to welcome you all to this show, Reflections of Home, that's been curated by Laura Case, who's just standing here next to me, and myself. And we're really looking forward to the music and talking, yarning ahead. If you need any more information about the show, then you can come and have a chat to me or Laura, but you can also have a look at our website at backstagemusic.com.au. On the site, there's plenty of information about the artists, and there's also some really interesting sonic stories and artist descriptions and things like that, because over the last couple of years, we've been working really hard to make our events more accessible by more people, and things like sonic stories are an excellent way for people who find loud sounds disconcerting to explain to them what the music is that they're going to hear. So that's what a sonic story is. Anyway, that's basically all that I need to tell you about. So I'm going to pass it over to Laura.
Hi. I'm Laura. I'm a Wiradjuri woman from Central West New South Wales. That's where I grew up. But it's lovely to be here tonight on Gadigal country. Always reminded that we're on Gadigal country by the sound of the trains, nice and close to us. But it's great, to be here in Redfern, the heart of Black Sydney. I see everybody's a bit scared of the front row, but that's okay. If you want to move up, you can. No one here bites, I promise. So first off, we're so lucky to have Uncle Matt Doyle, who is going to start off the evening for us. He's a Muruwari Yuwalaraay man, and he and Josh Sly are going to perform some songs, do some dances, and bring us into this evening, bring us into this space. So please give it up for them, and you'll hear from us again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Good evening, everyone. That's the usual response. How are you all this evening? Thank you all for coming. My name's Matthew Doyle. I'm Muruwari, Yuwalaraay. But I was born, probably like some of you, here in Sydney. I was born and raised on Gadigal lands and Dharawal lands in the south. And it's an honour and a pleasure to be here tonight. I'll be playing a little bit of yidaki. And our singer tonight, or our songman, is young Josh Sly. He's a Wiradjuri Worimi Biripi man, who's been under my sort of tutelage, if you like, for the last few years, learning a lot of my repertoire, along with my son, who's also in the audience tonight. I should have got him up here. And also learning my songs. The songs we're going to perform tonight are local songs based on local stories or places of cultural significance. The first song will be our welcome song, and that's to welcome you all here officially. I could give a whole welcome to country as well, but we can do that through music, through song, through dance, through language, how it was originally done. Now we do spoken word, smoking ceremonies, but the traditional way of welcoming people is through song and dance. So I'd like to welcome you into this space, to our performance, and just acknowledge that we are on Gadigal land. We pay our respects to elders past and present. Extend that respect to all of my Indigenous brothers and sisters who are in the audience tonight as well. Acknowledge your elders from whichever part of the country you may come from. The welcome song, we acknowledge the local clan groups. You'll hear Josh call out, and the words of the song means we invite you onto land, onto country. We extend our hand in friendship and we embrace you. That's what the welcome song the words or language translates to. So we'll introduce each piece as we go along. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh, gotta go, yee! Won't go, yee! Camarada, yee! Camarada. Hongongamania, taleno rango, 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 hongongamania, taleno rango. Banya Jamaica, Jackalania, 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 Banya Jamaica, Jackalania. Hongongamania, taleno rango, 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 hongongamania, taleno rango.
You feel welcome after that? Good. The next song is called Guin. In our culture, right around this country, we have lots of stories about spirits, and there's evidence of that in our stories, in our art, in our language, songs, dance, etc. There are many different types of spirits. We have good ones, we have bad ones, we have creative spirits, ancestral spirits, everyday spirits, spirits of the deceased. This spirit is called Guin, and it's a small spirit. It's a bit of a trickster, a bit mischievous, this spirit. It has an important role to play, and that's to look after country. So whenever we go out bush, we always have to be aware that this spirit is around and make sure that we're doing the right thing when we're on country, like not leaving rubbish behind or taking things that we shouldn't, because this spirit keeps an eye on you. So this dance, I'm representing that spirit, Guin, walking, travelling through the bush, and Josh will sing it. You notice some of our songs have yidaki, or most universities do. Some don't. A lot of my songs don't, because I'm sort of staying true to the local area, because yidaki was not played in the Sydney region, or for most part of New South Wales. But as our music adapts and changes, I've been playing yidaki for 40 years. I've learned many traditional songs from traditional players in communities in East Arnhem Land and West Arnhem Land and Mornington Island as well. So I'm very lucky that I've had that early training. But some songs I like to use yidaki as well, but this one doesn't. So Guin.
Go in Mabanara, 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 go mo banner, go with mo banner, I go with mo banner. Yeah, 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 yeah. 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 Go in mo banner, 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 go in mo banner. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ay, 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 ay.
This next song and dance that we're going to do for you is Wogangan, and this one here speaks of the crow and the raven. They're very important birds for us, not just within Sydney but across the country. They're a totem bird, a story bird, and here in Sydney there's a big creation story about the raven and the crow towards the harbour, and it's shaped actually in the head of the crow. So this one here is paying respects to that crow, what it teaches us, but also that bigger dreaming and creation story here on the Sydney country as well. Our birds and animals, they always have a teaching or a moral, but they also connect us as well. For us as Aboriginal people, right across the country, we had totems, and the totems on this country are also on my country as well, and Uncle Matt's country, and right across. So we weren't just divided by language as some people may think or have been taught. We shared country, we shared ceremony, and we were connected through our totem systems as well. So this one here, Wogangan.
Wogangan, 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 Wogangan. Wag, 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 wag. Wag, 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 wag. Wogangan, 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 Wogangan. Wogangan, 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 Wogangan. Wag, 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 wag. Wag, 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 wag. Wogangan, dangara, Wogangan, narabujare. Wogangan, dangara, Wogangan, narabujare. Wag, 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 wag. Wag, 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 wag. Yay!
This next one for you mob is another animal bird, a very important animal, especially here in Sydney. This one is Wiradjuri. In English, this one's the lyre bird. And again, the lyre bird is a very strong, prominent totem and story bird right across Sydney, right across Darug and Darawal. And you'll hear and learn a little bit more about this bird later on when we show a video. But the lyre bird was known as a songman and the law keeper, as he could speak all the languages. So this one here is celebrating the lyre bird, celebrating that beautiful song that he holds and the dance. So this one here, Wiradjuri.
Wiradjuri, danga manga, ribira tale dar lora. 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 nanga manga re bera tali darla. Where you been nanga manga re bera tali darla. Where you been nanga manga re bera tali darla. Where you been nanga manga re bera tali darla. Where you been nanga manga re bera tali darla. Where you been nanga manga re bera tali darla. Where you been nanga manga re bera tali darla. Where you been nanga manga re bera tali darla. Yeah.
How deadly is Unc? I love watching him dance. He's good. He's a good one. This one here is going to be our last song and dance for you mob, but we want to make it interactive. We want to get you all involved. So you can do this one from your seats, or you can stand up if you want to get real flash. This one here is our paint up song and dance. So this one's talking about the ochre that you see us wearing. Again, I think it gets mistaught, or some people, might just see it as scratching up or putting paint on our body, but we wear our identity, we wear our country, we wear our stories. For our special ceremonies, the way we paint up our body would connect to that ceremony as well. So we're telling story through song and dance, but also what you see on our body as well. I know here in Sydney, but also out of my country as well, we had sacred places where we would go get the ochre, and the men and women that had that knowledge, they would go and get it and bring it back. So even the process of going out on country, asking country to gift us these things, that was a part of the process, a part of the protocol, and a part of the ceremony as well. So every little action and connection was also important, not just the song and the dance. So that's what this one here is talking about. You'll hear the words in the song Dabamili, and that's to paint up white, as you can see us here today. So the first step for everyone in their seat, what you're going to do is just crush the ochre. So ochre starts as a rock. Sometimes we can get nice, beautiful clay ochre that you can just crush in your hand. Sometimes it's a bit harder, like sandstone. And we're just going to crush it up. Then you'll hear Dabwa mile, koranji bala, ai. On that, you're all going to clap. So you just got to follow along to the beat. Ai. After that first clap, then what you're going to do is just mix it. So we crush it into a powder first, and then once we got that powder, we add some water and we mix it up. I work in schools and I always, joke around with the kids when I do this. I say, has anyone made a mud pie? It's the same as that, but kids don't play outside these days, apparently. So yeah, we're just going to make a mud pie, and then you'll hear the same words. Dabwa mile, koranji bala. Clap. And then you'll hear the beat change, and then you're just going to paint your body up. So if you want to stand up, you can pick up your ochre and you can stand up, or you can just do it in your seats. But just have fun with it. And then at the end of the song, you'll hear the same words, but because we're finishing, we're going to clap 3 times. So you hear Dabwa mele, koranji bala, ai. Perfect. Look at you go.
All right. Have you got it? Everyone got it? We'll have a practice one.
Mala migwajawe bangawara. Mala migwajawe bangawara. Dabwa mile. Mala migwajawe bangawara. Mala migwajawe bangawara. Dabwa mile, akoranje bala. Ai. Mala migwajawe bangawara. Mala mi guajowe banga ora dabwa mile Mala mi guajowe banga ora dabwa mile Korani bala ai ai Mala mi guajawe banga ora Mala mi guajawe banga ora Dabwa mile Mala mi guajawe banga ora Mala mi guajawe banga ora Dabwa mile Mala mi guajawe banga ora Mala mi guajawe banga ora Dabwa mile Korani bala ai ai ai
All right, thank you, Ron. Thanks for joining. We'll be back a little bit later on.
Up next, we have electronics. We're going to hear a beautiful piece that she has composed. It is called Until You Journey Through the Mists. So we've got some very exciting sounds happening here that Thalia has put together, and we're going to have some spoken word and some fluting happening. So enjoy.
What you're about to hear is an offering of music and spoken word. A sound journey into the secret power of coming home to love. What if I told you that the love you are chasing from others is not actually the love that you need? What if the greatest love of all has been waiting for you this whole time? I spent over 30 years searching, trying to be enough for the world's version of love. I searched everywhere, in people, in approval, in performance. And then I found it. Not in a person, not in a place, not in a religion, but in God. God's love doesn't ask you to be perfect. It meets you in the mess. It doesn't demand your mask. It just desires your heart. God's love doesn't control you. It heals you. It frees you. It tells you you're already worthy, already loved. You don't have to hustle for God's love. You don't have to prove yourself. You just have to come home and ask for it. Home to who you really are. Home to the soul underneath the scars. Home to the truth that you are already loved, right here, right now. God's love doesn't just fill you, it transforms you. It turns the hard places soft, the numb places alive, the broken places whole. God's love doesn't discriminate based on your colour, sex or religion, even your sexuality. You can be as gay as me and even be loved by God. It's available to all her children who desire it and ask for it. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done. It doesn't even require you to fully believe in God. All it requires is an openness that receiving love from God might be possible. A coming home to love is possible. Thank you so much.
How dreamy. I love the silence at the end. Everyone was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Once again, we're in for a bit of a change. Okay, so strap in. Now we're going to have some videos. So it's a multimedia event. But we're going to have a video that was created by Uncle Matt. So Uncle Matt's going to come back out and talk a little bit about the video before that happens.
So we're going to share two videos with you of Dharawal stories that were shared with me by Auntie Fran Bodkin and the Dharawal knowledge holders quite a few years ago. And I've created songs and dances for these songs. The first story, you'll hear about it in the video anyway, is Yandellara, a neutral ground place we call neutral ground country, which is in southwest of Sydney, where people would come to sort out their issues, to trade, to have ceremony, etc. The second one is called Yandellara, and that's another law story about 7 peacekeepers, or warriors if you like, who protect country and protect people, and this is represented in the video anyway. Is there anything else I should add, Kate? The videos sort of speak for themselves. They're beautifully shot, and they're being used as a resource, I believe, at Western Sydney Uni, and I'm not sure where else, but that's where they've started, and hopefully they'll travel from there and be available or accessible to everyone who want to learn about local culture and local stories. So that's all I'll say, and I guess we can play the videos. Thank you. The Yandellara is a place of peace, like a neutral ground. So when you come onto that ground, you leave the weapons behind, because you're coming in peace to resolve any issues you might have with the neighbouring clans or neighbouring language groups. You come with good intent, you come with positivity. It's about respect respect for one another and respect for country, and how issues can be sorted out peacefully.
Yandalara, yandalara, nalawala, yandalara. Yandalara, yandalara, nalawala, yandalara. Yandalara, yandalara, nalawala, yandalara. Yandalara, yandalara, nalawala, yandalara. Hey, oh. Yandalara, yandalara, nalawala, yandalara. Yandalara, yandalara, nalawala, yandalara. Yandalara, yandalara, nalawala, yandalara. Yandalara, yandalara, nalawala, yandalara. Hey, oh. Where's your been, Bayamaja? Where's your been, Bayamaja? Where's your been, you're on the line? Where's your been, you're on the line? Where's your been, Bayamaja? Where's your been, Bayamaja? Where's your been, you're on the line? Where's your been, you're on the line? Oh. Where's your been, Bayamaja? Where's your been, Bayamaja? Where's your been, you're on the line? Where's your been, you're on the line? Where's your been, Bayamaja? Where's your been, Bayamaja? Where's your been, you're on the line? Where's your been, you're on the line?
The Yanamawa story, it's a really important law story for the Dharawal. We have the 7 peacekeepers, and Boona, who was the leader of the 7 peacekeepers, instructed them on what they needed to do to keep the country safe and how to protect everyone from the evil spirits, the Wiri, who want to come and destroy everything and everyone. The messages of Yanamawa are about protecting land, protecting country, sort of a tale, if you like, of good and evil.
Hey, Yandalwana, Yandalmawa, yee! Yandalbala bona, Yandalmawa, Wirimbra, Gambe, Wiri, Diramo. Yandalbala bona, Yandalmawa, Wirimbra, Gambe, Wiri, Diramo. Yandalbala bona, Yandalmawa, Wirimbra, Gambe, Wiri, Diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra gambe wiri diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra gambe wiri diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra gambe wiri diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra gambe wiri diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra gambe wiri diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra gambe wiri diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra gambe wiri diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra gambe wiri diramo. Yandal bana bona, yandal mawa wirimra
Thank you for sharing those with us, Uncle. It's so great to see this culture so strong here, you know. I feel like so much of what we see is from up north sometimes, so it's really nice to see Southeast Australia traditions being so strongly represented, and just a reminder that country, we're always on country, right? And country is in Sydney, and we're always on country, and so it's so nice to have such a visceral reminder, and to see it so beautifully displayed makes me so proud of our culture. So nice to see. This is our final musical item for the evening. We have the wonderful Nicole here, and Auntie Charlene is also going to be helping out.
This is my first time, so I'll just wave to everyone. I was told to... She's a seasoned professional. Home travels. Home travels. Across song lines. A birthplace. To final resting place. Resting place. All the journeys in between. Homes. I've had many. Different streets, towns, states. Kamilaroi, Willakali, Kunai, Kulin, Barkanji, Wandiwandandian, Yuan. Kamilaroi, Guin, Barganji, Mondi Wandandian, Ewan, many nations, many connections, many homes. Songlines. A birthplace, final resting place, all the journeys in between. Barganji, Wandi Wandandian, Ewan, Kamilaroi, Coolin, Willakali, Barganji, many nations, many many homes, many connections, many joys, many tears, many lives, many loves. Many homes, I take pieces of every home in my heart. Always home, 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 always home. majestic place, and all the journeys in between. I am travels. Always home. Always home. Always home.
Thank you, guys. And you can't tell me that was your first time, Auntie. That was great. Very good. All right, now we're going to have a yarn. So, look, we don't want to keep you guys here till midnight, but this is a lot of black fellas to talk to. So we'll keep it short and sweet. Do we want to move chairs this way, I reckon? And we've even all got mics. And how nice to hear you all chatting. That's much more like it. You're all getting a bit more comfortable. The longer we progress into the evening, that's more like it. All right. I'm going to attempt to host the yarn. So it's a very structured yarn. If you've ever had a yarn with a black fella, it doesn't go like this. It's a structured yarn. That's what I'm going to go with for now. So, you know, as blackfellas, we kind of position ourselves in the world. You'll often hear us ask each other as soon as we meet, who's your mob? You know, oh yeah, I know that person, I know that person. The reason we do that is because we're situating ourselves, you know, trying to understand how we all fit together. So as part of positioning ourselves, I know I've introduced everyone, but just to give you a little refresher, I might get everyone to just introduce yourself, who's your mob, where you're from, however you want to do that, and then we'll come back and I'll commence with the first question. Uncle.
So, I'm Matthew Doyle, Muruwari, Yuwalaraay, my mum's side of the family, which is towns like Kaduga, Lightning Ridge, Warrana, up into southwest Queensland. My dad's side, we have Irish and we have Wiradjuri in there somewhere as well, from the Riverina. Essentially, I'm a performing artist, professional dancer and musician, yidaki player, song maker, teacher as well. And I live on Bidjigal land in southeast Sydney. And I'm currently outside of my professional work, performing that is, I'm the uncle in residence at NIDA. And I'm very pleased to say that we have some of our NIDA students here tonight. So I'd like to thank them for coming. And our second year student in technical theatre, stage management, who has created the lighting for us tonight as well. So
very good.
Round of applause. Thank you, Siobhan.
What a flex. Outside of my professional life, I just happen to be the uncle in residence at NIDA. Yeah, no worries. Josh.
So Yamadu, your mob. My name's Josh. I'm a proud Biripi, Worimi and Wiradjuri man. Also through my great-great-grandfather, got bloodlines into Wonnarua, Gomeroi and Dark and Young as well. Similar to Unk, I get to live my culture every day. I work in schools, in teaching and mentoring. I'm also a professional artist, dancer, songman, yidaki, and painter, and traditional tool maker as well. So, every day in my world's different. Some days, I'm with Unk at stuff like this. Some days at the Opera House or the footy. Other days I'm at community events or in schools, and then other days I'm in the shed, either crafting or painting. So very blessed to, at a young age, fairly young age, I guess, to have a lot of cultural knowledge that's been shared with me. So very blessed to been mentored by people like Unk and other people within my family and community as well, and blessed that I get to share that with the next generation as well. So, yeah, that's me.
Hello everybody, I'm Charlene Cruikshank. I'm a Wandiwandandian Wadi Geringer woman on my dad's side and colonisers on the other side. So, it's about reconciliation from birth, really. So I guess, I'm not an artist, not a singer, I say, but I absolutely am blessed to be part of so many creative people. And I think the last couple of years since I've met Nicole, and I did see her looping at the Civic Centre in Shoalhaven in Nowra a couple of years ago when I'd given her, I think, an acknowledgement to country, and she was there. And I was blown away. And we were sitting in the front row and I heard this, magical sounds that I'd never heard before, and this voice coming towards me. And I remember just going away saying, who is this woman? Who is this girl? Who's this Koori woman? So, I think since then I've then met her, been mentored, and I think it's quite funny when we talk about elders, but, I think for me she's an elder and a mentor to a group of women, and we're called Mujingal Yangamba, a group of women who, some of us have never sang ever. I had real anxiety about singing in public because I'd been kicked out of the choir when I was 7. So I had a lot of, healing to do. And I'm getting there. And I think being part of this today was so putting me out of my comfort zone, but it was fantastic, even though, I was still terrified and still am. But I've got lots of skills now. And the ironic thing is that I actually work in my other life as a mental health clinician, would you believe? So I've had to heal thyself, as they say. So but fantastic to be part of this. And I'm a mum and a grandma and a sister and a lover, and so all that wrapped up in. But as I said, I would not have believed 2 years ago that I would be sitting here in front of you guys. So I'm blessed. Thanks.
Glad you are.
Amazing. It's too deadly, sis. Hey everyone, I'm Thalia, go by the artist name Electronics. I guess, my ancestry is Atherton Tableland Wiradjuri from far north Queensland and the Atherton Tablelands. My dad's Greek, and we have a mixed heritage, even on my Indigenous side as well. We've got Filipino and Chinese and South Sea Islander, so we're mixed breed over in my family. So I was born in Darwin, grew up in the Kimberleys in Kununurra. I did all my primary school years in the Kimberleys, in the bush. It was amazing. My grandparents lived out on an Aboriginal community called Bulla, which is just across the Northern Territory border from Kununurra. Kununurra's WA. And it's just amazing, it was just something that I really, truly value today is that opportunity to grow up in the bush and be swimming and playing and riding my bikes around with, my cousins and my friends. So, and then I got taken away from Kununurra and put in the city in my high school years, and that was a bit of a shock to the system after growing up in the bush for so long and being used to that way of living. So I was living with my mum and my Dutch stepdad and integrated into all of his family, which was an interesting dynamic throughout my teenage years. And then I really got to know the Noongar culture over there when I started studying at AB Music in the early 2000s, and then moved over here to Sydney about 10 years ago. So I've been here since 2013. And I've came over to follow my dreams, and I've been on my journey of healing as well over the past 10 years, from First Nations intergenerational trauma, and I got sober as well, so I'm 11 years sober this year, and I've been really working on my journey of healing, along with following my dreams of music and trying to create a better quality of life for myself, doing my passions. And I started out as a singer-songwriter, I got my degree in music over here in Sydney as well over the past 10 years, and I transitioned into electronic music production. So I've been making like doof music, you know, tropical house sounds and stuff like that. The chill vibes, as they say. And then I really wanted to get into composing for film. So I've been transitioning into creating more cinematic, ambient soundscapes. The piece that you heard tonight was actually a part of a 45-minute score that I wrote for Sydney Festival for one of their immersive art spaces called Colour Maze. And so that was the third track on the actual album. And yeah, so that's available for free actually by donation if you ever want to get the full experience of the Colour Maze soundtrack. And yeah, that's pretty much me. So I'll hand it over.
I just want to sit here and listen. Hi, my name's Nicole. I'm a Worimi Biripi woman. It's so nice to have a brother up here on stage. On my dad's side, Bug family, and on my mum's side, Irish and coloniser. I grew up on Dharawal country in Wollongong and have spent most of my life there, sometime here on Gadigal and some time also in the Shoalhaven. And now I'm back on Dharawal country raising my kids. I went to the Sydney Conservatorium of Music. I studied vocal studies and then decided that I didn't want to be in that world and ran away and joined a whole heap of rock bands and gigged around Sydney in indie rock bands for a number of years. It's only really, I guess, in the last 10 years, as I've been reconnecting with my Worimi Biripi ancestry and learning language and learning culture, that I've found a strength in myself and in my creativity and started making my own music and my own art. So I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I work across poetry, sound and video installation. But up until that point, I just did a lot of collaborative work. I like working with people. I like being able to lend my skills and my voice to other people's creative projects. So it's only, really recently that I've been doing my own thing. It's very uncomfortable. I'm starting to get used to it, but yeah, I have a lot of joy singing with Charlene and the Mudjingal Yangamba Choir. We're a choir of 10 Aboriginal women based in Nowra. We write our own songs, we tell our own stories through song, and reconnecting with our Aboriginal languages, we sing in Durga, Dharawal and Gatang. And yeah, that's what I do.
Oh my God, what a crazy talented bunch we have up here. Well, now we all know each other. Let's talk a little bit about what we heard, maybe while we're with Nicole. Could you talk to us a little bit about the creative process that you went through to kind of come up with what we heard? It was very collaborative, as you said. I mean, that's how we as blackfellas operate, right? We work with people. But maybe you could talk us through what that process looked like for you.
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. So the theme, Reflections of Home, I was thinking about what home means. And having never lived on my ancestral country and having generations of my family that haven't lived there either, I was thinking about, well, what is home? We have that country in our bloodlines and a connection to it there, but we're also connected to so many other places. I'm connected to Dharawal country. I have a responsibility to that country. I was born there. I've got a connection to Gadigal where I birthed one of my children. I've got a connection to Nowra where I birthed my other son. And what does home actually mean? Like for me, home is where my family is. It's where my community is. And a lot of my community is in Nowra. The beautiful aunties and sisters that I sing with in the choir, they form my home. And so I wanted to make a work that spoke to that. And about how our people have been displaced. You know, we were taken off country, we were taken away from our families, we were raised on missions. Many of us have not lived on our ancestral lands for many, many generations. And so I wanted to kind of bring a sense of that into the work as well. And I realised that I couldn't do that on my own. To make a work about community, about family, and about that true sense of home, I had to invite others to be part of it. And so I reached out to my community and asked if anyone would like to contribute and share any thoughts, photos, musings, poems, anything that they wanted to share about home and about those concepts. And I had a few people come back to me, Charlene being one of them, who wrote that beautiful poem. And an auntie of mine was talking to me about Nguraba being home place. So that's where the title of the piece came from. Another dear sister who's in the room, Karen, sent me some vocalisations that I wove into the piece as well. You heard the choir in the field recordings in the piece, also the sounds of country, because that's also home. They're our kin, our non-human kin. So, yeah, that's kind of how the piece started to come together. So, yeah, very collaborative piece. And then I really wanted Charlene to be here to speak her poem in the room as it was being performed as well. And it's beautiful to have Karen here in the audience too. Yeah.
And Auntie, when you were kind of putting your poem together, maybe you could talk a little bit about what reflecting on home means to you. I heard a lot of names there.
Yeah, I guess for me it is, I think I've lived in lots of different places. Like I was born in Karindo, so on, Kamilaroi country. Lived a lot of my life in Broken Hill, spent time in Wilcannia, so, Barkindji, Willakali, went to Adelaide, so, Kuna, went to Victoria, Coolin, so, got one child born in Adelaide, one in the Sunshine, she used to say, but in Sunshine in Victoria. Always coming back to Wandyandandian area, which is where my dad was from originally. But he, like a lot of Aboriginal people back in the day, he travelled a lot. And so mum and dad, so the first, I think, 5 years of my life, we travelled all around New South Wales. When I was a kid, they used to say, what do you want to be when you grew up? And I said a gypsy, because I think I started life as a gypsy in a caravan. But home, I think, is always where you are. That's part of it. It's in my heart. My home is wherever. And actually my partner who's sitting in the audience, we've had arguments because wherever I am, that is the place that I'm meant to be. And it's always the most special place. And it is, where I belong. And I always feel that I'm where I need to be at that time. And so when I talk about, being home, it's always very positive. Like I never think that I'm going to go somewhere else. This is it. Mind you, that can turn on the, flip of a coin sometimes, because sometimes opportunities come up and we've moved and we've made homes and we've made, beautiful homes wherever we are. And it's not about, we're in an old shack, but it's still a most beautiful home. And I think it's about where your love is, where your heart is, where the people who fill you up. I think, like Nicole said, it's the people around you as well. And I was lucky. I grew up with a good family, lots of connections. But as we've grown older, everyone's moved and dispersed. But there's still special parts that are always within me, and they're all of those memories. And I think that's sort of what is home in so many ways. It's in you. That old thing about it, you take it with you. I'm sure there's a song, isn't it? Everywhere we go. But yeah, and I just think, I don't even know what I think now. It's all just muzzled into one. I'm just raving on. But I don't know. I do think it is. It's, we're blessed, really, and it doesn't have. And I think a thing from my dad is coming because, you know, how we get told that Aboriginal people have to go home when they die, or, you know, the connection to country is always you've got to go home. But, you know, when my dad was very unwell and, you know, ready to pass, we talked to him, do you want to go back to where you came from? And his thing was, no, this is where people accepted me, this is where I grew up, this is where I had memories, people, you know, embraced me, this is my home. So I think it's that thing, and I think I've got that attitude as well. Mind you, I'm now living in Orient Point. I'll tell you my whole life, sorry everyone. And I look, my nan was born on Rosebery Park Aboriginal Mission, which is a spit that way, Greenwell Point across the river, where my pop was from, and I absolutely feel like this is home for me. And I don't feel, at this time, I don't think I will leave. I think this will be my legacy, you know, for when I leave to the dream time. So, yeah, so I'm home wherever I am.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I think when I was putting that theme together, Reflections of Home, it was making me think about, you know, what I think about home as well. And even though I've lived on Gadigal country for 10 years, I still call Lithgow home. You know, I'm always saying, oh, home, 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 and that's because that's where my family is. And I'm lucky I did grow up on my ancestral homelands. I've got Big Mob out there. So this is one of my favourite yarns to have. I love to hear how people reflect on home for them. Because whenever I'm in Lithgow, I say, oh, I've got to go home, meaning Sydney. But then I'm also home. You know, it doesn't make sense. And Nicole, for your composition, you also created the film we saw happening in the background.
Yes.
Got super excited about the emus. They're my favourite.
Again, that I guess was another kind of collaboration. A lot of that footage comes from a friend and a collaborator of mine called Tad Sowden. He made a film a number of years ago, and we've been making art together. And yeah, he gave me permission to use some of his footage and chop it up and use it for that. And I really loved the aesthetic. A lot of the footage that he gave me had that kind of like old movie reel that you'd sit and watch with your family, and yeah, there'd be memories of like growing up, generations growing up in places, or family holidays that you'd have. And so I felt like it was really fitting, and I was able to tell the story visually that Charlene and I were doing sonically as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. It was very nostalgic. It felt like going on holidays with family or something. It really did, now that you say that. All right, Uncle, maybe we'll come to you next. It was great to have you guys here. You know, it's so great to see, you know, strong countrymen. I think, yeah, it's a great model for Baby to see. He was just absolutely loving what you guys were throwing down. He was partying in there, honestly. He's been quiet since then, guys. He heard the yidaki and he's like, yep. Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about your kind of composition process and what goes into that, and a little bit about what we heard, maybe.
Yeah, my composition process is always usually comes from stories. And as you know, our stories are about everything, from country to, you know, birds and animals, to places, to love stories, to you name it. And it's usually from that story that's what gives me, you know, the ideas around how I will compose a song. But really, the essence of songs comes from language. No matter what language it is, it's always language that guides me on how a song should flow, what the melody should sound like. The rhythm, the tempo, the beat, whether it has yidaki or not, or just voice and clapsticks. So that's usually how I compose from a story. and everything else comes from that. Most of the time that's the case, but sometimes I'll write songs on more recent events or historical events that don't necessarily have like a creation or a dreaming story to it. One song I composed a few years ago was about our flag, the Aboriginal flag, and how the flag, when it was created, was a symbol that united all Aboriginal people, because we didn't have a symbol. We didn't have our own flag. So the song I wrote about that was about the flag standing together strong, united under this flag. Except I sing it in language, and it has a dance that goes with it. Whenever I create songs, I'm always at the same time creating the dance. So that sort of happens simultaneously, because I'm a dancer as well and I have a dance background. So I'm picturing the dances as well as hearing the song. And then once I've created that, then I'll, share it in the community, or, with the new up-and-coming singers and dancers coming up, share it with them so they can carry it and share that story, with everyone.
Such a wholesome model. And I love that. Like, we are the original storytellers. So,
absolutely.
Everything we do kind of stems from that. And it's so nice to see all of this play out in everything you do. We've got the story, we've got the dance, and this is always how music and culture was expressed. And so it's so powerful to see both traditional and then also these modern songs coming out as well. And the movement towards language revitalization is so important. Like, I didn't grow up speaking a lot of language, so I love coming to these events and hearing language. It fills my heart so much. I think these movements are so important, and I know you're right into language revitalization.
Yeah, absolutely, and I do that again through songs, and you'll find, even children today, they'll remember language if they learn it in a song, whether it's a nursery rhyme or a song about a kangaroo or whatever it may be, they retain that and carry with them. So that's the way I do it as well. And particularly here in Sydney, talking about home, Sydney is my home. That's where I was born and raised. That's where I have my strongest connections. This is where my immediate family is as well. And we all have a responsibility to country in many different ways. And for me, it's through stories, language, song and dance. That's how we can bring, I think, mentioned before, like, people think, oh, Sydney's got no culture. It has plenty, believe me. And that's really important for me as a child born on this country. I have a responsibility to bring that culture, bring that language back to life, and then share that across all communities here in Sydney.
Yeah, I think that's so important. People say, oh, I got to go out on country. It's like, no, you're on country right now. Country's everywhere. You're standing on country. Even though we're in a big city, that doesn't take away from, particularly being in a place like Redfern that has such a long Aboriginal history here. It's so important, and I work at the Conservatorium and kids are saying, oh, I want to go out on country. I want to go and do this. I'm like, step outside. The botanic gardens are there. There's this long Gadigal history that you could literally step outside and see, And, music and culture, that's how we connect and we express. And, music and culture, they're not separate things. They're all interrelated. Right. Yeah.
And all countries are connected.
Yes.
So even if you're not standing on your ancestral land, you're still on your ancestral land because it is all connected.
Yeah,
and,
100%. Yeah. And it's, it's so nice to connect with mob like this, away from home as well, because I moved to Sydney and was like, I don't know anyone here. And so it's so nice to like make all those new connections in a place that I now call home as well, because that makes you feel like home when you're with your people. Josh, you've got some very exciting clapsticks here. Boomerangs, I'm sorry. Thinking about the sounds of country, maybe you could talk to us a little bit about some of your instruments you're making, some of the sounds you're making, what goes into it.
Yeah, so very, very blessed that I've been taught how to make our traditional, I guess most people call them artifacts, but I don't really like to call them that, because they're not just stuck in a time period, they're not just sitting on a shelf. The connotation around the word artifacts is museum or things like that, but what I love is the whole process. There's a story within it, and everyone in the audience, you keep hearing this word story, and everything had a story, everything had a place, everything had a connection. And coming back to talking about, when I was talking about the ochre song as well, even going out and collecting the ochre, that's still a process, a protocol, a connection in itself. And that's what I love about my tool making, is that story, that connection, connection back to our old people, a practice that's thousands of years old. And there's not too many of us left, especially in New South Wales, doing the tool making. So I'm very blessed to be able to do that. And yeah, coming back to that process of going out on country. I source the wood myself. Mostly go out with one of my older cousins. We go cut the wood and bring it back, season it, and shape it all up. And even that's a beautiful thing in itself. Is country is living, and some people might just see a branch or a dead branch or things like that. But we get to bring it back to life and bring that story back. And connect us back. I remember this one time, again, going off on a tangent, but I love telling stories, but this one time I was out on country with my uncle when I was younger. As you do, I don't know, I get distracted real easy. And we're walking back to camp, and I'm just, I noticed that there's a lot of dead stuff, on the ground, and I started just like stomping, real loud, like trying to break everything, just I sort of saw my uncle look back at me a couple of times, and I saw that it was annoying him a bit, so I was stomping back. We get back to camp, and we're sitting there, and he sort of just didn't say anything. And similar to what you were saying before, I get awkward in the silence, and I'm sort of like looking at him, waiting. You teach me everything, uncle. Like, surely there's got to be a lesson. I'm just waiting for him to tell me something. And he's just sort of nodding at the ground, and then he looks up, he goes, got to make a fire. Oh, mad? Go on then, Unc. Make me a fire. And he's sort of looking at me and goes, see all that country that you just disrespected for the last 15 minutes? I was like, well, all the dead stuff, like, what does it matter? He said, that's going to give us heat and shelter and life for the night. He said, go back and collect it all. I'm there, whatever, grabbing it, bring it back. We start the fire, and it was such a beautiful lesson that I carry with me to this day. That we're connected to everything, and even though you might feel like you're down and out, like that dead wood, you still have a place, and it still connects us, and it's still important, And then that gave us our heat to cook, to keep us warm, to look after us for the night. And that's the same with our tools. They're not made to just be sat, in a museum or on a shelf. These teachings, these knowledge, the law, the protocol, even the language. I love making tools because that's my way of revitalising and connecting back to culture through a practical sense, but also the language and the cultural context that comes with it. In my language, we've got I think we got about 6 or 7 different types of boomerangs, and they all had a name. They all had a reason why they were that name. They all had a purpose. So these ones here that you see in front of me, these are called baran, and baran was our hunting or ceremonial boomerang. So they doubled as a practical tool for hunting, but also for our music as well. And you know, that's what I love, and that's how I connect back to culture and revitalising teaching as well. When my uncle takes me out, when he talks about the trees, there's always a story and there's always a connection. But then, you know, he would tell me the language name as well. So these here are made out of gidji, which gidji comes from our language name gidjir. We roll the R on the end rather than saying gidji, gidjir. Gidji tree, which is our beautiful acacia wattle. And right now at this time it's sort of coming to the end, but the gidji tree teaches us as well. We make our tools out of it because it's a hardwood. But right now, for those that don't know, we just sort of come into the back end of emu season. So when the gidji flowers or shows its first yellow wattle is the same time as the dinawan or the emu is laying its eggs, which then, you know, again, we talk about story and connection. We've got the dinawan on earth, and then we also got the warambu, which is our language name for the Milky Way, which warambu is also our name for river, because it's a river on earth and a river in the sky. So then now we're talking about constellations, all from, and this is how my uncle teaches me. So it started as a boomerang, and now we're talking about gidji. Now we're talking about seasons, and this is how we as Aboriginal people contextualise the world. You don't just have them parts of culture in separate boxes. It's one, like a big dilly bag, you know, holding all that. So back to that story. The gidji, when it shows its flower up in the sky, some people have heard of the dark emu. We call that guarge or gugumin, is the dark patch within the emu. When the emu loses its legs in the constellation, it's starting to sit, which is the same time as the gidji's flowering, which is the same time as the emu's sitting on earth. But coming back to the warambu as well, when that river in the sky lines up with the rivers on earth country, all us out west mob, we know that we're going to get all the water from Queensland. So all the Murray-Darling, Darling River, Barwon, Barkindji mob as well, the Barker, the rivers start to flow and we're starting to get water on country from Queensland. So this is how we contextualise the world, that, you know, what started as a show and tell of a boomerang, now you've learned about the gidji tree, you've learned about the emu season. And there's all these protocols and rules, and it wasn't about being a boss for culture or country, but it was about sustainability, about connection, about looking after mother, and then she looks after us. So that's why I love the tool making. Each tool had a story, a connection, and a teaching as well. So that's the way I'm revitalising, and then it links into all the songs and dances as well. You need a beat, you need the language, and then you need the story first of all. So, yeah.
No, I love that. Thank you. It goes to show that our music holds so much more than just, you know, you heard 5 songs at the start of the evening, but it encapsulates everything that you're hearing and everything we're talking about. And I love those lessons with uncles and aunties. It's just like, all right, dropping pearls of wisdom everywhere. Either quietly teaching a lesson and you kind of take it on board, or just like, go make auntie a cup of tea. To bring us home, Thalia, tell us a little bit about your work, the creative process, how it relates to your sense of home, anything else you'd like to contextualise for us.
Yeah, I guess I'll start off with the creative process. It just depends really on what the project is, but for this one in particular, the brief was to create, like, you know, the song that this, the album that this song was a part of was obviously, like, as I said, it was for an immersive art space with Sydney Festival, and the brief was to create something that promoted curiosity and wonder, because it was for an art space for children. And it just really got me, as I was creating the piece, it really got me, thinking about, I guess, what children can teach us about one of the purposes of life, which is to have this endless wonder and curiosity. Children, it seems like it is endless, and it seems the older we get, the more we lose that. So I really kept that sort of at the forefront of my feelings. And to start off the composition, I got a reference track, just sort of do my research and get a feel for what are some of the timbres and textures of curiosity and stuff like that. So I started out with a reference track that I was kind of getting inspiration from, and then like by the second song, as you get started, for me, it sort of takes on a life of its own, and I start going off on my own tangent of where I want the music to go, and the ideas are just rolling and coming. So that's, just sort of one way sometimes that I might create a piece of music. And in terms of, and other times it's really just me, not using a reference track at all, and just like coming up with the moment I lay down some chords and I just get a feel for the feeling of those chords, and the melodies come and then the beat comes and stuff like that. So it just depends on what project I'm working on. Sometimes it's with a reference.
I'm keen to hear your
isn't.
doof next time.
Yeah, so actually one of the things that Sydney Festival referenced was some of my tropical house music, because I like some of the playful elements of my commercial releases, and the vocal sampling especially, they referenced a track and we like this sort of vocal sample and these plucky kind of chords here. So throughout the whole 45-minute piece, I've sort of interwoven these like ambient soundscapes going into these like kind of plucky tropical fun vibes with vocal sampling. I kept it really light, just percussion. The brief was to actually create a piece with no low end. Can you believe it? So I had to create like this piece with no bass, no like kick or anything. So that was it was the first time that was ever requested. But so I ended up like creating this really beautiful like ambient cinematic piece that's sort of 45 minutes long. That's very playful, definitely has that curiosity and wonder about it. And this third track that I created, which was Until You Journey Through the Mist, just kind of really reminded me of initially the journey we all eventually take home when we leave this earthly life, the dream time, the spirit world. And so it just had that feeling to it for me. And I initially created a spoken word piece centered around that. And today I changed up a little bit to, I guess, really drive home the message of, for me, like coming home to love, which is like, as I said, my journey over the past 10 years has really been my journey of healing and really learning a lot about what it means to love myself, what it means to love other people, what it means to love the environment, what it means to love animals, and really coming into, an awareness of what that actually looks like on a day-to-day basis in my life. And so I really wanted to bring that message into this piece because it's just been absolutely life-changing for me. So yeah, I wanted to, for me as well, like I really, throughout my whole life, have never really felt like one place has been home for me. I've felt like actually, I've carried around feelings, and I think, this is, from First Nations intergenerational trauma, the sense of like not really feeling like I fit in or belong anywhere. So for me, it's really only been over the past 10 years since I've been on this journey of healing and learning about love that has actually really grounded me and made me feel the most at home when I'm really connecting to that love from Source, God, whoever you want to call it. So that for me is what home is. It's you could be anywhere in the world, and as long as love is present, you're going to feel grounded, you're going to feel loved, you're going to feel like happiness, peace, joy, all of those beautiful feelings that a home should be, you know.
I love that, and I totally heard all of that reflected in your work. Like, it was so beautifully captured.
Thank you.
Well, we've run pretty well over time. So, is there any burning questions for someone sitting here? I mean, we're not running out, so you can come and have a yarn, you know, as well. But if there's no burning questions, and I'll take a burning question if you jump up and put your hand up, then we might wrap it up. Join me in thanking this amazingly talented group of deadly people.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you for coming. This can't happen without you guys, so we really appreciate you all coming. Thank you to the amazing tech team that also made all of this happen, because there's a lot of tech happening here. There's a lot going on. To Lamorna for putting everything on, and again to you guys, our excellent crowd. Thank you so much.